I think we were all collectively gobsmacked last Friday with the sudden passing, to say the least, of one Chadwick Boseman, star of Black Panther, 42, Marshall, a litany of movies, and only a 17-year acting career, too. A career that I could have sworn was longer, but leaves behind a legacy of films. We are going to take a substantial amount of the show today and honor his indelible legacy.
We heard about Chelsea and I heard about uh, his death. We were playing mahjong with my parents because the four of us play usually on Sundays, but we had to switch things around because of a birthday. So we went on a small birthday gathering. So we did it on Friday, and in the middle of a game, I got the I got the note on from, I think, Washington Post or something, because I got all those messages on my phone, and we just had to stop the game because I can't think, because it was just so shocking. And I honestly won't forget that, because it's one of those moments where culturally, it is a feeling of like, where the hell were you when you heard about this? Because it just snuck up on if you're familiar with Chadwick Boseman's work, if he's on your radar, which, frankly, if you watch movies, he should be. If you're into Marvel or whatever, it's one of those moments where you're just thinking, where you'll look back and be like, where were you? And like, who were you with? And like, how did you know? How did you find out? It's just something that people are just going to talk about. So, yeah.
Totally well said, and we'll just jump right into the topic. We're going to be talking about Bill and Ted Face the Music as well as Class Action Park. We got 2 reviews today. We're pulling a doubleheader, but we're going to take quite a few minutes, I think, to talk about Chadwick Boseman. Dom hit the nail on the head right there. This is one of those deaths that I'm going to remember where I was, because I was on the phone with my buddy getting blown up by you guys, and I'm on the phone. I'm not really looking at my notifications, and then I'm like, what the hell are they blowing me up about? What's going on? And then I look at my phone, and I'm like, Chadwick Boseman died. And this year, I say there's 2 deaths this year that are going to that I'm going to remember where I was. The other one being Kobe Bryant.
Right.
I was at my grandfather's house back when the world was normal, back in late January, when I got the news that Kobe Bryant died. It was early that morning. And I don't say this lightly. I don't say this lightly at all. But Kobe and Boseman's deaths this year have made me come to grips with my own mortality in such a way. Like, okay, we all know we're going to die. You know what I mean? We learn that pretty young, that nothing is forever. We have a finite number of minutes, hours, years, however you want to quantify it, on Earth. But at the same time, you look at Kobe Bryant, who is 42, I believe, 42, and then you have Chadwick Boseman, who was 43, and these guys were young.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe with Kobe Bryant that, like, his second act might have even been more noteworthy than his first, and we'll never know. And with Chadwick Boseman, I always said that there should be like a Hollywood, I know there's the Walk of Fame, but there should be some sort of Hollywood Hall of Fame, kind of like a Pro Football Hall of Fame or a Sports Hall of Fame. And if there was, he damn sure was looking to get in it in no time, in a record time. Just to name a few performances, you got Jackie Robinson in the movie 42. You got James Brown in Get On Up, who's my background today. You got Thurgood Marshall in Marshall, Storm and Norman in The Five Bloods, who's Joe's background. I love that photo, by the way, too. Yeah. That's wallpaper material right there. That's a wallpaper material. And then you had like a litany of other movies. 21 Bridges, which I want to watch soon, that I missed. Message from the King is another one that I missed. And I saw something really nice, too, that my friend mentioned about Chadwick Boseman. He said that he was the closest thing to Sidney Poitier that we have. And he's honestly right. I think he's right on that. As somebody who is like a presence, but not only that, he was a dignified actor and somebody who elevated the projects, or elevated himself, even if the projects weren't up to par. I'm talking a lot right now. I know you guys got some things to say about Boseman. Let's start with you, Joe. I know you're the Marvel fan. I didn't even mention Black Panther.
Yeah. So. No, so, I mean, I've seen this guy. I remember because my grandmother loves soap operas. I got to figure out which one he's in, because she watches, like, all of them. And I remember I used to see him. I saw him in one soap opera where, I mean, I hate to say it, but he takes a woman hostage, and I was just like, oh, okay. And he's like a cracked out dude as well, and I'm just like, this is the guy like that's gonna be playing Black Panther and everything, because I heard about the news about that, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no, I've seen this guy in something else, and it was 42. I love 42. I think it's a pretty good biopic. It's one of those like definitely like, oh, it's so streamlined, it's so mainstream, it's like safe and everything. But again, like Steve said, his performance in that movie I think carries it, as well as Harrison Ford. I think they're great together on screen. That was the first time I saw him. I said, oh my god. Oh, that was like the first movie I really saw him in. I said, okay, maybe this guy can be Black Panther. Then Get On Up came out, and I was like, oh my god, this guy is gonna kill it. And then finally, my favorite Marvel film in all of the MCU was Civil War. And he's one of the reasons why it's also one of my favorites. I love the discussion in that film, but I love his character's introduction. I love how mysterious he is and everything. And I think just like that film and then going into Black Panther really showed like how much Chadwick Boseman was Black Panther, really. He really embodied that character, and like, if there's anything that you can see when it comes to him being Black Panther, social media was just riddled with children with the action figures of him and all their other Marvel action figures, like having ceremonies, all this stuff at home, and like, you know, just seeing all these kids, all races, like everything, just like feeling like they really lost a king, like they lost the actual king of Wakanda. Seeing the cast's reaction to, especially Michael B. Jordan's reaction, that one hit hard for me. Ryan Coogler as well.
That's a rough read.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler was another one.
Michael B. Jordan's eulogy was rough.
Yeah, it was. You really like. I know there's this whole thing. It's just like this is what happened. I remember like. I'm sorry, I'm going along here too. I'm imagining
it's okay.
This is gonna be the longest topic.
We're all eulogizing tonight.
When Robin Williams died, I remember somebody I was friends with in high school, who might be watching the show tonight. Who knows? Literally said, "Who gives a shit? None of you guys knew him," and it's just like that doesn't mean I can't give a shit about a man who, like, one, made me happy as a child and everything because of Aladdin and all these other movies he was in. Chadwick Boseman to me was like, hey, look, this guy's breaking, you know, as much as I'm involved with like watching film and everything, I know how rough this industry can be for people of color. And Chadwick Boseman's one of those people that was breaking down those walls, man. I mean, like, again, I mean, it was also like the films he was in, like Black Panther broke it down, but like, him leading the sorry, I'm watching the 42, not the 42 trailer, Get On Up trailer where he has a shotgun and shoots the ceiling. And so he was really leading that and really broke a lot of ground for people of color, like, to get roles. And I think him being T'Challa and everything really symbolized that as well. And then, yeah, just hearing that he passed away, I was very heartbroken. It's just like, wow, you know, this man, very young, like Steve said, and just like Kobe Bryant, it really shows how much life can just sneak up on you in an instant, whether it be medical reasons or just an unfortunate time, being at an unfortunate place at an unfortunate time like Kobe was. It's really sad and depressing, man.
Yeah. And before I toss it over to you, Dom, I want to say that because, you know, my father can be caustic a lot, and my father would always tell me that. I remember one of the biggest celebrity deaths that impacted me years ago was Corey Haim, 80s actor, when he died in 2010, and then Roger Ebert was probably the next one in 2013.
Yeah.
And I remember my father like would always tell me the same thing, like, he wouldn't cry. So-and-so wouldn't cry if you died. Why do you give a shit? And that's the thing that I always hated. There's a profound heartlessness in that. Because when it comes to, like, athletes and celebrities and actors and stars, when they pass away, like you said, Joe, they make you feel happy. Maybe they got you through a rough patch in life. Maybe they made you think about something a little bit deeper, and it may be a theme in a movie they were in you could apply to your life. There's a myriad of different reasons why you can grieve somebody you never met. There's a ton of reasons. Notwithstanding, let's just look at the human aspect. The guy was 43 and had colorectal cancer. Like, one of the miserable cancers, one of the cancers that is still hard to treat, that is still pretty much a death sentence, colon cancer.
Yeah.
And I cannot fathom suffering it in secrecy for 4 years and continuing to work arduous schedules, difficult surgeries, chemotherapy, the whole 9 yards. I don't even know if I'd be able to go get my mail and have colon cancer at the same time. And he's the one doing these daunting roles. Dom, your turn to eulogize Chadwick Boseman.
It just doesn't feel real because like when I first saw that headline pop up, it's like it's got to be someone else. There's no way, not that Chadwick Boseman. I must be misthinking. I got to be putting the wrong face with the wrong name. But the more I thought about it, the more I connected the dots at that mahjong table, and I was thinking, God damn, no, he's gone. Like, did he get shot? Did something happen? No, it was cancer, and I'm like, God damn, he just persevered through all of that then. But in any case, Chadwick Boseman, his filmography will be legendary, obviously because of Black Panther, but because he was able to portray, amongst many other roles, but he was able to portray great African American figures, just great American figures, even beyond the his blackness and how he wore that on his sleeve proudly, but even just great American heroes and figures. One in sport, being Jackie Robinson. One in music, James Brown. Soul singer, one of the blackest, one of the blackest genres of music you can find. And he freaking killed that man. And then Thurgood Marshall, the first African American Supreme Court judge, and just legendary NAACP lawyer, and just broke barriers. In the world of civics, government, and law, and it's like he wore all three of those. He held those banners up high, dude. And then when he took on T'Challa / Black Panther, at that point he just transcended African American, and he just took on the blackness of what it meant to be that superhero, the blackness of how really became an icon. He became an icon for what it meant to be not just African American, but just to be black in this world. And he elevated that word, he elevated that ethnicity to a place where, it's where it needs to be. Brought it a little closer to where it needs to be. We're still got a long ways to go, but I mean, I was thinking about it too, because like, damn, he actually, I'm not 100% sure, but he died, or at least they announced his death on the night of the 2020 March on Washington. Like that, goddamn, that legacy in the middle of all this. How many months are we removed from George Floyd? Feels like decades, but decades packed into just a few months. But just the the shit cherry on top of it all. But dude, he will be remembered, if anything, just for those incredible roles, and just those four movies, 42, Get On Up, Marshall, and Black Panther. I still need to see 21 Bridges, because I heard he killed it in that.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I didn't see it either.
Yeah, The Five Bloods,
That and Message from the King.
Message from the King. I need to watch those. Clearly, we all need to watch his filmography, because he was just the fact that he did it while having cancer, and according to what I've read, or actually, Steve, you shared this with us, I think, where it was only his wife knew about it and maybe a few close friends, and it never leaked.
No, it never leaked.
He kept it tight.
And even people at Marvel had no idea.
Yeah,
and
Kevin Feige.
Even he didn't know. He got the email. I saw it today. It was a story on Screen Rant. He got the email that he was in critical condition, but he didn't even have time to read it. By the time he read it, he was dead.
Can you imagine that? That's some like colonial shit where it's like you get the letter and they're already dead by the time you get it. It's like
period, end of sentence. I'll also say this too. It's worth noting this. Boseman died on MLB's this year, Jackie Robinson Day 2020, after playing Jackie Robinson in 42. He died August 28th. That's Jackie Robinson Day. He also
is that the normal Jackie Robinson Day, or did they switch it up because of the messed up schedule?
It might have been switched. I think it was switched.
Wow, that's fate, dude.
And then also August 28th is the birthday of Jack Kirby, who was the co-creator of Black Panther.
Damn. Jesus.
I'm an agnostic, but there's certain things in life that start to make me believe, and there's like moments like that are serendipitous.
And actually, but yeah, I know we're closing in on that, but he it wasn't just those three movies where he was playing historical figures. He was Floyd Little in the Ernie Davis story. I'm just looking at his Wikipedia page here. And the few others, he was just not afraid to be all these figures and bringing them to our attention. It's almost like a service is what he was doing, you know? Just a service, like beyond his acting. He was just unafraid, and it's, oh man. We're still, it just does not feel real. I messaged you guys like, damn, what is this like? You know, is it like, I messaged like, oh man, this is like if Harrison Ford died in the late '80s, and we're like, no, that doesn't feel right. It's like, yeah, and it's like I tried to make comparisons now. Tony Soprano,
James Gandolfini.
yeah, James Gandolfini. No, but he was 50 something, and he already done his, he already did Sopranos. That was already finished. But it's like, and you just can't compare it. This is just one of a kind. He knew he was on a timer for at least 4 years, and he, that's when they detected it. He probably had cancer before that even, so 5-6 years, who knows. It doesn't feel real, and we're gonna be grieving for a while, man. That's where I'm gonna.
I've noticed on like even the local news stations out where I'm at, there's a lot of doctors now, like I've seen on the last couple of days, like urging people in their 30s to get tested for colon cancer,
which
like
is the best thing. Yeah, the best thing that can come from his legacy. One of the best things.
I mean, as guys too, we gotta look forward to the prostate exam as well. We got that coming. But you do this for a reason. My buddy Nick, one of my best friends, he's up in grad school in Wayne State in Detroit, and he's going for genetic counseling. And I was on the phone with him when I heard the news that Boseman died, and he even said too, he's like, genetic counseling is kind of like forecasting for what diseases you might be susceptible, like looking at your genes. And he said too, he's like, his family ought to get tested, like all of them. Relatives, everybody, like get genetic counseling, talk to genetic counselors, and find out if any of them have it. He's like, this is exactly where this stuff comes into play, right here. And a tremendous, profound loss that I don't think any of us are going to soon get over. And it also feels doubly sick too that, like, in a time of really social reckoning in this country, where a lot of young kids, doesn't really matter the color, but in this case, a lot of young African American children who looked up to T'Challa and Black Panther as an idol, to have Boseman pass away during this time, like it's not an exaggeration. He's godlike. To these
he's there. He was their king. That's honestly like Superman dying. That's in the DC universe, like if Superman died, that's kind of how this would feel. And like that hit me when I read, like a couple days later, again, I got another message on my phone from Washington Post saying parents are figuring out how to tell their kids, if at all, how to tell them that their hero dies. Like, God.
Look, and like sucks. Like Steve mentioned too, like, an actor can help you get through a rough time, and like the MCU in general helped me get through a rough time in my life from 2008 to 2020. 2019 I should say, actually, because no fucking Marvel movie came out this year. But yeah, like it got me through it. So like literally I look up to like any of those guys, like, hey, like, even if your movie wasn't the best, but I love Black Panther. Even if your movie wasn't the best, like, you got me through something. You made me excited to go to the theater and escape this world and go into yours. And Wakanda was definitely one of those movies. It was like, oh my God, like, I love being in this world. I love this character. This is so cool. I love the supporting cast. And just to hear it, like, even now, just as 24 years old, I'm like, ow. And like, I can't imagine if like this happened to me when I was a kid growing up. Like, oh my God. Like, to me, I guess if I had to pick an actor, I think that would be like this for us when we were kids. Maybe Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Like, because it was just so huge around that time. Maybe that. But even then, it's just like, you also got to think cultural significance of what Chadwick Boseman was.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't think really Toby had that. I think really Chadwick is like one of the extraordinary ones out here, because it's just like he broke so many boundaries.
I would say, and it's bad when you start talking about this again, I don't think it would have had the social impact just because of the the roles Chadwick took.
Yeah.
But I think above Tobey Maguire, maybe Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, there
Harry
we go.
Potter. Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe, I think. Like, what if
I
what
think
if
that's
he
even more
somehow,
apt.
God forbid, passed away after like Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a good
that
one.
would have been.
You mentioned him earlier, or rather, I think either you or your friend did, Steve, was Sidney Poitier.
Yes.
Poitier. Because he was. I'm not too well versed in his filmography, but I do remember Guess Who's Coming to Dinner from 1967, and that is a significant film because it was, according to Wikipedia, one of the first few films to depict an interracial marriage in a positive light, while at the same time, interracial marriage was still illegal in 17 states. And that was before Loving versus Virginia, when it was declared that's legal across the board, across the United States. And in that same way, where it was breaking down barriers and showing interracial marriage in a positive light, I think we got to end it with just the effect that Black Panther had, and obviously not just that character and what that meant to people, but just the industry proving to Hollywood, because Hollywood's a stubborn bitch, but proving to Hollywood that yes, you can have a cast of all black people, all beautiful, strong black people, and Martin Freeman, and it can sell. It can be. You can choose.
You can give it a big budget, and it will triple its money,
baby.
Yeah.
You can make money. You can ride that wave. So give Black America, give Black actors their due, and people of color, give them their due. And cynicism aside, with money, it's like, you prove that this can be a thing. You can give them their movie and pave the way for Crazy Rich Asians. Pave the way for the next movie that kind of holds that banner up high, whether it means to or not. Race is just a thing that we are coming to reckon with. And man, Black Panther, that's going to be a huge one. Will be forever.
Excellently said. There will be another time, maybe on this show down the road, where we talk about what should happen with Black Panther 2. Today's not that day. I'm not lambasting people because it is a big point, and
I did think about
talking about.
I did think about
it. But like, I mean, we all did in some capacity. But like, on this show right now, not the time.
No.
That'll be a topic for a later date.
I don't want to transition to a topic like, and now that we got to talk about Chadwick Boseman, let's talk about who should replace him as Black Panther.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll leave it at that. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda forever, Boseman forever.